I think the one nugget I would give, the biggest nugget, is just take the time to get to know your new teammates. That would be the actual kicker for me.
Welcome back to the Lose to Win podcast with myself, Josh, Jack, and Ben. How are you doing, lads? How are we doing?
Good evening. Very well.
We made
thank you.
episode 80 this week.
Wow.
Which for some weird reason I looked at and thought, wow, we're not that miles away. We're not that far away from 100 episodes. And it's
Wowzers.
Yeah,
that's pretty good going, isn't it?
20 odd weeks away though, mine, doesn't it? It's still
yes, I know, but
put it into perspective that way. It's
another full man.
It's gonna be like September,
season,
isn't it?
Yeah, 1.5 man v fat seasons. Yeah.
Yeah.
Away, but
yeah, it's good.
I don't know why I thought it. Just
and we still got,
anyway.
We still got people listening to us idiots as well. For some reason.
Anyway, how are you guys doing? All right.
All right. Yeah. Not too bad. How are you, Jack?
Back in the world of actually feeling okay. I was awful. End of last week, I actually had my first day off sick in 3.5 years. So I unfortunately had to miss. That's the dogs joining in. Apologies about that. I missed footy on Friday night due to illness, so not ideal. But yeah, I'm much better now.
Bless you, mate. Well, I had a good. I missed football as well last week, sadly, due to my father-in-law's 80th birthday. We had a lovely weekend.
We literally all missed it. Neither of us were here. None of us were here.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
So can't really comment about what happened. Literally have no idea.
Had to scavenge around for information from the sidelines.
Yeah. That sounds like I know I talked to the lads and they said it was a good week, so good-hearted, enjoyable week. So that's the main thing. I
was sat refreshing the emails, waiting for it to come through to see what had happened. We're obviously a little bit nervous because as we'll come on to, but we're a little bit nervous because we actually lost on the pitch. So it was interesting, but all worked out in the end. We got the overall win, which was the most important thing at this time of the season for sure.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right. Well, I think just for
how are you, Josh?
Well, I'm fine, thank you. Yes, very good. I had a good time away, stagging as such.
Yeah, so where was it?
Oh, bloody, it was in Birmingham, mate. It's not like it's the mecca of...
Stag destination of the UK. But they're massive giant rats running around because they're still left in the bins. That's what's going on in Brum, isn't it?
Twinned with Vegas, yeah.
I'd prefer to go.
It wasn't too bad, to be fair. If you've actually been in the city centre, it's actually quite nice.
Yeah,
it's
the ball
lovely.
ring.
Yeah, so it was fine. Yeah, it was really good. Really enjoyed myself. So what can I say? I think I've managed. I don't know what the scales damage is going to be. It was decent damage when I got back on, Sunday evening, but we'll see what it's like. I've done pretty well this week. So anyway,
good.
Yeah, but feeling good. Good to be into the last week of the season.
Yes, so it is.
Yeah.
Last game. How are we all feeling about that?
Apprehensive. It's a big one for us. It's a big one. We need to get over the line. I wouldn't say limp over the line because I think we've been at it, but Oranges are formidable every week. Again, we'll come to it in a minute, but the numbers that they clock up weekly are just staggering.
It's mad,
and it's not a one-off because they did it last season. They're probably a team that I would say up there with maybe a few others, but probably the most that don't want to break up right now. They don't want to be separated right now because they've clicked, haven't they? They've absolutely clicked and doing it so well together. So it's all good. A little apprehensive, but I'm sure it'll be fine. It will all work out in the end, doesn't it? It's only a game of football, eh?
It's only a game, lad. It's only a game.
Yeah, but it is attached to weight loss.
Well, it's primarily weight loss. Let's be real.
Which is part of the game.
Yes.
Which is what I was trying to say. Because we all know we ain't winning it without it.
Absolutely, mate.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Well,
I will say before you jump in, Josh, I am disappearing halfway through the podcast because we've taken a little bit longer than we planned sorting stuff out for this weekend's festivities.
Yeah.
So I have Thursday night football to disappear to. So yes.
We should probably say then that's just a good time to say the awards this Saturday or tomorrow, depending on you're listening.
Yep.
A change of venue. Very thanks to you, Jack, for arranging that. So change of venue now in the Little Down Centre, the bar in that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So 7 p.m.
Yeah, well done, Jack.
My opinion, it's
Yeah,
probably a
nightmare.
better venue, and I should have done it in the first place. But my hand was forced by the wonderful people of Bournemouth Electric Club. So we are now there. We have the entire balcony to ourselves, which by all means, Saturday's weather is meant to be another cracker.
Yeah, it'll be
And
eight.
we have the entire bar to ourselves. We've got a nice little dance floor area. Russ is going to be spinning the ones and twos. I'll be talking too much, so please stop me if I am after a few bevies.
I'll
And,
shut you up, mate.
Lots of prizes to be won and fun to be had.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
please
Great night.
come along and enjoy yourselves.
Yeah, plenty of great prizes. So please get your raffle tickets in.
Yeah. And if you are coming, the entrance is opposite the entrance to the pitches. So the main entrance to the pitches around the back of Little Down. We are up the steel stairs there. I'm going to hang around outside for a bit and point people in the right direction, but it is pretty
Cool.
straightforward. And I
Cool.
think a lot of people that are coming have probably been to Little Down before and know what I'm talking about. But if you haven't, you can always drop on a message. How do I get in? And one of us will help you.
And just be aware, it's a 7 o'clock arrival for a 7:30 start prompt. So
Yes.
make sure you're there.
Yeah.
We want to give Russ
7:30.
as much time as he can on the decks. Last time he got about 20 minutes, and we want everybody to enjoy themselves, have a bit of a boogie and a drink. Last time felt a little rush towards the end, and we don't want it that this way.
No.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
Cool.
Anyway, into the roundup then.
Go for
yes,
it.
So,
that's the admin out of the way.
Yes, well, in terms of our weeks then, so some people said it was all over. Well, I don't know who these people are, but some said we were limping towards the end of our season, that our motivation was all used up and tossed aside like last week's takeaway containers. Some people are idiots, supposedly, because this week we saw, and we lost weight like the world beaters we are, with shock results and upsets on pitch and on scales. It was a week for the ages. So sit back, strap in, and we'll take you through it then. Results from last week. The Blues continue to march on to 14-9 victors against the Whites. The Greens, a narrow loss to the Reds, 8-7.
It's a close one.
Then the Purples won 9-2 against us Yellows.
Yeah.
And then the Oranges continue to put up a monumental score, 20-9 against the Blacks.
Incredible.
Yeah. So with only a week to go before they cease to exist as a team, the Oranges seem to have changed their name to Gluten Town 20, recording precisely that score for third week in a row.
Yeah, brilliant.
Madness.
That's impressive enough, but when you add in the fact that the week before they scored 24, they're in fine run of form. So this week's results were enough to ensure that they retain their Scales League title, having now opened up an uncatchable 4-point lead going into the final week of the season. Their last remaining challengers, the Blues, enjoyed a 5-goal victory over the Whites, but had to depend on tracking goals and a hefty last man standing bonus to secure that win. So neither of those count in the Scales League, which allowed Whites to snatch a Scales victory by the narrowest of margins in that one.
Yeah.
The other title races are going to the wire. So the main league won. Oranges and Blues both won, leaving them tied on 22 points, with the Blues advantage in goal difference now down to just 7 goals.
Narrow. That was at like
is narrow,
20
mate.
at one point.
Yeah. Told you.
Maybe more.
Yeah. Every goal and every ground will count this week for the two title contenders, something for them to think about before reaching for the snacks cupboard. The Pitch League saw both title contenders miss the opportunity to take control of the race. So your Blues, Jack, lost 3-2 to the Whites, while Blacks were dismantled 5-0, and that's a real 5-0, not a forfeit, by the way,
Yeah, that's a bit
by the
bonkers.
unstoppable Oranges.
Did not
That
expect that.
means it's as you were at the top of the table, with Blues enjoying a 1-point lead over the defending champions Blacks.
Oh,
Pitch
Jackie,
League,
Jackie,
yeah.
Jackie.
Toyed like a toiger.
The club as a whole lost 21.7 kilos this week,
That's great.
with 43 out of the 60 who weighed in losing weight. Ironically, given that this week marked the end of the Scales League title hopes, Blues were again the biggest losers, with 8 out of 9 going in the right direction for a total team loss of 6.7 kilos.
Good work, boys.
Blacks with 4.1 kilos with 6 out of 8 people. Purples
Nice.
with 3.9 kilos with 4 out of 6. And oranges, who lost 3.5 kilos with 9 out of 11, also had fine weeks.
Wow.
So taking everything into account, that moves us on to a total club loss of 109.2 kilos for the season so far. That's to tack. If then you include the Christmas weight, which we started at a whopping minus 150 odd kilos, we've had a 260 kilo odd season so far since the day one.
Very good.
So no milestones this week, although there are at least a couple of players closing in and looking to finish the season in style. So we'll see about that this week. But 14 hat-tricks to celebrate, and there was one departure from last man standing with illness, as you mentioned at the top, Jack, finally undoing what the scales couldn't and knocking you out, mate. So Jack
Absolutely
Cater.
gutted.
So unlucky, mate.
Unlucky, mate. That's happened to me last season, dude. Dropped out
Yeah.
the week before the last week.
Yeah.
Annoying,
it's
isn't it?
not
13
cool.
weeks, though, mate. 13 weeks. It's still a
Yeah,
hugely
incredible.
impressive achievement, so well done.
Incredible, mate.
Yeah, thank you.
And
And you
hope
look
you're well,
good
mate.
for it as well, buddy. I thought the other night you were looking particularly trim.
Thank you, mate. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
a bigger
Trying
well
to get
done,
there.
Yeah,
maybe. I don't know if we say bigger well done. However, goes to the 7 men still competing and just one step away from completing an undefeated season. It's another all-new team of the week, this time headed by 2 long-serving club favourites. Jesus Ponce and Rob Hodge each lost an impressive 2.6 kilos,
Brilliant.
which in Rob's case was enough to move him back into maintenance range.
Yeah, good lad.
Nice.
So they are joined by a healthy mixture of long servers and newcomers, including Harry Davis of the Purples, making the top team for the first time of asking.
Well done.
Well done,
Well
Harry.
done.
And welcome to the club. Yeah. So the
How much
lineup
did he
is
lose?
as
Sorry, Josh, did you say?
Harry.
Yeah.
Or about to get to it, mate.
Oh, sorry.
So
Sorry.
Jesus Ponce was at the top of the team of the week with 2.6. Rob Hodge
Yeah.
also lost 2.6, as we mentioned. Ant Skirman lost 2.5 kilos.
Yes, well done, Ant.
Lloyd Croxford lost 2.3 kilos. Harry Davis lost
There
1.7
we go.
kilos.
Yeah, good work.
Well done,
Yep.
mate.
Rich Webb lost 1.5 kilos, and both Jimmy Murphy and Liam Dancer lost 1.4 kilos.
Well done.
Very well done,
Jimbo and Liam.
Yeah,
Love
yeah,
it.
Yeah, really good.
yeah.
The reason why I asked how Harry did is that first weeks are always really interesting, aren't they? Sometimes you see some like ridiculous. It's just a shock to a body, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
Harry's already been losing weight though. He should have really started a few weeks ago, but he didn't. He delayed it. But he's already been died. He's already been kind of on the wagon as it was. So he'd already lost about 3 kilos.
So he's had
since he
that
actively
initial
started. Yeah.
It's always quite noticeable, isn't it? They always tend to hit that team of the week if it's your first week and you've hit the ground running. Definitely.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Where was I? So that's nearly it for the season and for this rotation of teams. One more week, as we mentioned. So let's have everything out on the pitch and on the scales to finish the season in style. So Blues, Blacks, and Oranges have all got something to play for, but their respective opponents, Purples, Yellows, and Reds, could all have a say in where the remaining honours go. More importantly, with Easter and its accompanying indulgences looming, let's finish the season in as lean a shape as possible, ready to hit the ground running for season 13, which will start on Friday, the 25th of April.
Yeah, so it
there we
begins again.
And as per Steve's message, we're expecting to know our teams early next week.
Next week.
Exciting.
At some point, yes.
Is it a draft
no-
video that launches it again, Josh?
Ah,
Like last time?
I would expect so. I don't
Cool.
know, honestly.
I quite liked it.
Yeah,
I was
Yeah.
driving. I had to pull over quickly and watch it.
But I would expect so. Something along those lines.
I've still got the screenshots of the last. I had to take
Yes, I
screenshots,
think
so
I
I
have,
couldn't
yeah.
remember who was on what.
Oh, it takes a while to settle in, doesn't it? To remember who's where and what's going on.
Yeah.
Any news on another night yet, Josh? Is that something that we're going to find out more from Steve about, or is it something you can talk about? I know I've just sprung this on you. Sorry.
Well, I'm happy to say what I've been told in the hope that it's not confidential. And then if Steve lets me know, I'll message him. And if he lets me know, I'll cut it. But basically, right now they're not at the stage to open a new night. So
Yeah,
for
okay.
the start of this season, that is all I know.
Okay.
Okay. So whether that comes down the line, I'm sure it's still in their plans at some point. I just don't know when that's going to be. I have no further information. I just know, and as you could probably have surmised by the fact we're only a week away or 2 weeks away,
We would
they
have known
haven't.
about
Yeah,
it, yeah.
you would have known about it by now. That's all I know. So it's not really a revelation.
No, fair enough.
All. But we'll see. I'm sure if they feel like there's enough, then they'll get to it.
Yeah, it's like I said before. I think we've got a few people who are stepping away this season as well, and obviously new people will come in. But I think unless there was a waiting list of a good fair few people, I don't think it would have been, because all that would happen is we would ultimately lose a few people out of this league because they prefer the Wednesday night or whatever night it is. There's a possibility of that at least. So I think you'd potentially end up having to drop our league back to a 6 to start a new one to potentially to do that, and I'm not sure they'd want to do that. So
No, I think you're right.
So I'm sure it'll happen as and when.
Yeah,
I was interested actually to hear from Dan that Pool are at but up to 6 teams. They had a massive influx of people apparently. I've not really spoken to him about the Pool League for a while, but he said it's going great guns over there and they're full up now.
Oh, really cool.
Which
Good
is really
stuff.
good because I know they struggled for a while, so it's good to hear that they're on the up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really good. Onto the WWE belts quickly before we move on.
Mhm.
So this marks the end of round 3 for our new
We have the winners, do we?
belts. Yes, we do indeed have the winners. This will be reset then and not start until week 2 of next season.
Fair enough.
So the lightweight category first off. In third place, losing 3 kilos for the last 4 weeks, Paul Harding.
Oh, what
Very
nice.
well done.
Yeah.
In second place, with 3.7 kilos lost, is David Kitska of the Oranges.
Well done.
Yes. But in first place, having lost a monumental 7.3 kilos in just 4 weeks, Rob Hodge.
Wow. In 3 weeks.
I think 4, yeah. So 4 weeks from week 9. So whatever he weighed
Is that
from
because
week
he was
9
crocked? He said he couldn't do anything. He was injured, wasn't he? So he couldn't do
but
anything.
he's been
Normally
playing
walks
football.
everywhere.
Yeah, he's been playing football. I just think
He
it's
plays
a
through the
diet.
pain.
Yeah, I know, right?
Fair play, mate.
It's just unbelievable. Yeah, so very well done. That's your lightweight champion for round 3.
Well done,
of the
Robbo.
season 1.
Well done, mate.
Rob Hodge.
Well done to
Very
all those
good.
lads.
Into the middleweight category then. In third place with 3.6 kilos lost is James Scott.
Yeah, Scotty.
So I believe has been injured himself quite a bit. As
Yeah,
He's
well.
off to
he's not
Portugal
been playing
today
at
for golf and sunshine and beer as well, the bastard.
Jammy get.
Lovely man. In second place then, and I'm sure he'll love this, with 3.9 kilos is Ryan Broadbank. And in first place, the middleweight champion for round 3. And I need to double check this, but I have a feeling it might be consecutive wins. If this category is indeed Michael Pearson, having lost 4.2 kilos.
Well done.
Very well done.
Yeah,
well done
there. Fantastic.
On to the heavyweight then. In third place, with 4.2 kilos lost, Oscar Selekpili. In second place, and again, someone who will absolutely love this, with 4.8 kilos lost, Josh Buxton.
Yeah.
Which leaves first place, and this is by another monumental score, not close, with 7.3 kilos lost, the same as the lightweight category. It's to Sam Bailey, your heavyweight champion of this round. So just incredible, because I'm pretty confident Sam has lost. I don't know how many weeks he's been here, but I'm pretty confident he's lost somewhere in the region of, an average of the same kind that Josh was smashing out at the start.
Yeah.
2 and a bit kilos a week or something. So just
that's stone
incredible.
gone, isn't it? Fair shout. Over a stone.
Yeah, right.
Fantastic.
So that's that one. And no one's going to find out about any of the Golden Boot stuff until Saturday. So
no, it's a surprise.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, good work.
That's it for that part.
Excellent. Well done, boys.
Yeah,
Very good.
proud.
Very good. I did want to talk about, though, and we'll just jump straight into it, about the new season rotation. Because teams are on the horizon. New teams
tell us?
coming. No, of course not.
And the big announcement, Josh. Here we go.
Breaking news.
I just, I don't even know. So, it was more around because there's usually quite a big grasp. Most people think, okay, motivation is going to be pretty high for those people who start because you're in a brand new team environment.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not always the case for everyone. Some people will be busy over Easter. They might just walk back into it again, and maybe it's not taken any more serious thought than it had at the end of the season. For some, not saying it's the case for everyone, just So the question really on my mind is, what challenges, what incentives, what kind of things do you think could work for new captains or just people in general in the league, whether it's teams or individual challenges, to put all together to get that kind of buy-in straight away? I mean, as I say, it's a bit like it's a low-hanging fruit when you're in a new rotation, but there's always that fresh impetus.
Ben's got something he told me about when you because you're not going to be a captain this time around, Ben, are you? So
no.
Your trick of the trade is kind of giving everybody the floor to kind of, especially as they're going to have a bunch of new people in your team that you might not know much about, and you're also going to have people that might have been there for ages that you don't know about either. So give them the floor, give them the opportunity to kind of tell everybody, if they want to, a little bit about themselves, don't you?
Yeah, I've done it for the last two rotations, just basically to get the group chat going. Really, is to get a bit of chat going. It's quite important. I've always found it quite important early doors to engage people in the chat if you can, just to try and make everyone feel comfortable and included, and etc. And quite a nice way of doing that, because I've said before, we don't really know each other a lot outside. There's some of us who know each other very well now, of course, but there's quite a lot of new blood in the league now who we don't really know much about them. Some people are very, very private, so I just like to ask people to just put in the chat who they are, what they do, what makes them tick, just a little bit about them, just to open up a bit of conversation, and it's worked quite well both times. It helps to kind of, you might have something in common with someone which you had no idea, or you might know somebody that you didn't know, and that triggers a conversation. It just kind of unifies the team. Early doors to get people chatting, get people talking, and try and identify a bit more with each other. So that's quite a nice touch.
It's worth asking.
It's also worth asking just quickly about people's level of response. So if they think they're not somebody that's overly active on WhatsApp, you don't want to feel like you're pestering them as a captain. So if you're somebody that's away from your phone, that can't be anywhere near your phone all day, just set that expectations to everybody so they don't think, oh, he's not interested. Not kind of like, oh, fuck him, he's not interested. More, oh, he must not be engaged, or he's not interested. It probably is engaged and probably is interested, but just can't keep up, or just doesn't have the time that others may have.
It's important
digitally.
To say, look, there's absolutely no pressure to do any of that. Some people, like you say, are not particularly active on social media. They don't like messaging, or they're not used to doing that. They just like to do their thing, turn up, do their thing, and that's absolutely fine, however you choose to engage with it. But I think it's nice if you can, just to give some people an idea about who you are and what makes you tick. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If you are a private person and you don't want to give information, then don't give that information. It's not the end of the world. It's just it does open the floor, and it does open the conversations basically, and it gets people, especially if someone comes in and says something, then other people feel comfortable to do it. So I tend to do it myself first. I'll say that this is who I am. This is some stupid stuff about me. This is stuff you might not know about me.
Do you put in your appearance on Tipping Point, do you? And things like that.
Have done, I think. I might have done.
Sorry, just random tangent, but just
just random stuff. I can't remember what I did. I've said stupid stuff about me, like I released a stupid England song in 2006, whatever. Just stupid stuff to say. It just opens up conversation, basically.
Breaks the ice nicely.
My question is, if as a captain, is there any particular answers, any questions you actually want to know the answer to? Like do you think is beneficial
from
for
your
people to know?
players?
Yeah, that you would think is beneficial
I
for people
think
to
it's
actually know.
nice to understand what is motivating people. So it might be that some people, it might be that, I don't know, let's take an example. It might be that someone has put a lot of weight on in recent years because they stopped smoking, or it might be that they don't know how to regulate their calorie intake because, I don't know, maybe they're not good cooks and they don't really cook, so they don't really know what they're doing. It can be anything like that, really. Why they've joined in the first place, what their targets might be for that season.
Like weddings or whatever might
Yeah,
be coming up, or babies on the
what
way, or something like that.
yeah, what the immediate goal of them being in the league is about. And quite often, actually, it's quite interesting because some people have really high goals. Like they'll say, I have to lose like 2 stone. I'm going to try and lose 2 kilos a week for next. And then it's about kind of managing that expectation and saying, okay, well, that's great to have those goals, but maybe think a bit more short term and don't go crazy because it won't be sustainable. Try and make it slightly more, because you can, if you shoot for the stars, you might just reach the moon. That kind of philosophy. It just try and, I don't know, I've always tried to help people manage expectation around what it is they're doing. So that's always a good one. And just try and work it out. And so if your main goal in the season is to lose a stone, work that out on a weekly basis. So if I wanted to lose 7 kilos, I'd look to lose half a kilo a week, and that is a good sustainable loss to get yourself. And before you know it, you've lost a stone. By the end of a rotation, you could potentially be 3 stone lighter, which is massive amounts.
Yeah.
Things like that.
It's a great show.
It's going to be a bit weird, actually. I don't know if everyone knows, by the way, but I hadn't actually announced that I was not.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's all right. That's all right.
I'm pretty confident it was mentioned last week on the pod. Well, we mentioned,
possibly.
Maybe
chatting about it. But yeah.
Anyway,
Sorry.
I won't be captaining this season. So apologies to anyone who was hoping to be on my team. I am taking the.
Well, they can still be in your team.
Still be on your team.
Oh yeah.
And you'll still be active, won't you?
Of course, yeah.
Let's face it, you ain't going to change who you are.
No.
It's all very good stuff, isn't it? I think you're right. Just capturing as much as you can without being too pushy with it. And also just being there to support. And I think it's very easy to cast judgment, and it's very easy also to have preconceived perceptions about people that you haven't played with yet and you might not have got across. Give everybody a chance.
Yes, definitely.
Talk and listen in equal measures and learn about other people. Having been a sales manager, one of the key things I learned was about understanding, like you said, Ben, like what motivates people. So you kind of get hearts and minds, understand what's doing it for them, but also then help not use it against them, but help them find that within themselves when they have those dark moments, when they have those tough times. You go, remember how well you've done so far, remember how far you've come, work on what's next, what's that bite size, what's that tiny little next milestone for you. Don't concentrate on your 5% milestones. What's your next milestone for you?
Definitely.
Little things like that can make such a difference. And thankfully, we've got incredible members within the group that will come into your new team as somebody that is highly motivated already. And success breeds success, doesn't it? So you have a good example, and I bang the drum for him because he's an absolute superstar for our team. Somebody's going to inherit Josh Buxton that is very much on the right course for his journey. Yeah. If you can jump on and understand how he's doing things and get some motivation from him, but also give him some motivation, he's somebody that everybody would benefit from. He is very shy and quiet when you speak to him out and about, and it takes a little bit to get to know him, but he has got so much that he can offer anybody. You've got players like Matt Waterman that's been there and done it and is wearing the T-shirt of somebody that's lost considerable amount of weight. You've got Rich Webb. Look at the difference for Rich Webb, and he's a seasoned pro at it now, isn't he? And able to do it. There's so many good people within this community that aren't just going to be your captains. The buddying up side of things works as well, doesn't it? I think there's that side of it. A lot of people will go with buddies for whatever reason or not into teams. And if you can try and branch out a little bit more and learn about more people, the better it's going to work. I promise.
Yeah, definitely.
It's super important, isn't it?
So my next kind of question is there anything you would have in mind that you like, challenges you set people, incentives you've offered to people? So you've done your ice breaking. You've got together, you're ready to go, you're going into week 1. Any challenges you want to set people? Anything you recommend they set themselves? Any incentives you add to the team? Is there, or is it just a case of make sure you keep active in the chat and
I think I've always put that to the floor. I personally have never set any like captain's challenges. When we started Purple's, Jimmy did a couple of VC challenges, which was step. But I tend to put it to the floor and say, look, anything anyone's interested in doing, anyone wants to do. Like, I know when we were in Red, we did a step challenge, and Dave was all over that, and he kind of sort of instigated, but he kind of drove that.
He was desperate to beat James, wasn't he? So that motivated each other.
Yeah, so it's nice to put it to the group and go, look, anything that people, do you think you'd engage with? You know, what sort of things do you think you'd engage with on a weekly basis? What are people comfortable with? You know, and just see what comes back and take it from there.
The
challenges are quite a good shout.
Go on.
Which is what I was going to just go back to when you did the challenges last season, Josh, that your sort of Man v Fat challenges on a week. That everyone seemed to engage with those, and I think that's quite a nice, because it was a central thing. It's good for groups to do their own challenges, but I think it's nice to have a central thing as well. So if you were thinking about doing them again, I think that would be a good shout. Okay.
A season longer, not one singular season long challenge.
Okay.
In mind. I don't want to get ahead of myself, because honestly, it requires admin from me.
And, stat man strikes again.
And I need time. I need time to do that and consider that. Have I got time to do X, Y, Z? And then, honestly, this particular challenge won't just rely on me for that admin.
Yeah, that's
a bit like how the golden boot stuff for fun doesn't rely just on me. You know.
Yeah.
Together. So.
Well, I think that's a fair shout, mate. I think.
So I just need to have a consideration. I'm having to think about how best to implement it, and then which I will be doing as soon as possible this weekend if I can get it done, and then I'll be setting something in mind.
But it certainly engaged the community, I think, because it got people talking and it got people inspired and stuff. So it's well. It
actually encouraged us to do a little bit of our own. So we were sharing. We had sharing of recipes. We had sharing of daily meal planners. So, you know, people are using kind of your Fat Secret and Fitness Pal and stuff. People are sharing the screenshots of those and showing left the calories. And also the big thing is picking somebody up when they might have had what they felt was an incredible week or a really good week, and it hasn't shown on the scales. And helping them combat kind of that, don't fall into the hole of going, fuck it. And also, don't fall in the hole of thinking that you've done something completely wrong, because it fluctuates and there's many reasons behind it, and you can dig down into the detail of it, or you can go, right, it's going to pay me back next week. If I continue to do what I do, next week's going to be even better because of this hard week that I've had.
Yeah.
And that's really important as well. I think there's so many little tricks and tips that I guess the three of us have all seen and seen some work and some not work.
Yeah.
Inevitably, what will happen is almost a guarantee. If you're doing a step challenge, you'll be surprised that you're not losing as much as you think you're going to lose. We have people that do a silly amount of steps and go, I haven't lost much weight, but I've been super good. It's because you're exercising more, you're hungrier, you are getting stronger, your muscles are getting stronger, which are heavier. All of those things to take in consideration as well. So, yeah, it's super exciting. If you're nervous about the rotation, don't be. Again, we've seen a few of them now, and it makes such a difference because it can reignite. There's people that I've spoken to privately, and I won't share who they are, but they've kind of said, gagging for this rotation now, desperate for it to, and they love who they're with at the moment, but it's time. Do you know what I mean? They've got to a point where they've been through it before and they can see the trend happening again.
Yeah.
And it's time to change.
Yeah. I think the one nugget I would give, the biggest nugget, is just take the time to get to know your new teammates. That would be the actual kicker for me. And it would be interesting just to have a chat. The Oranges have had a really good couple of seasons, and I know for a fact that they were struggling a wee bit, but in the first sort of part, and they all went out for dinner. They all went out for dinner together to get to know each other a bit more and get to know, they'll talk to each other and stuff, and that made a massive difference to them, and they kind of clicked more as a group. And I'm sure Adam and Gareth will talk to you about that. About how
amazing.
Rav and
I didn't actually know about that, to be honest.
So, I remember hearing about it.
So it makes a difference. So it's worth taking the time. If you're a bit nervous, if you're not particularly that sociable, you don't need to be. It's just about I think opening up a little bit. And
when you open up and people open up to you and you get to know them on a much more human level, you start caring about it.
Absolutely.
And that care extends to small things, week to week, day to day. I would have thinking about your Fridays and your pitch and all, and your off the pitch stuff, and not letting people down, which is basically the premise of the whole Man v Fan, isn't it? Really, you're uniting competitive spirit, but realistically, there's the scales, which is you're going to step on, but the main reason about stepping on the scales is you don't want to let anyone down, you don't want to let yourself down, and that drive for it. So good advice.
Yeah, it was a great topic, Josh. It's a really good question,
captains.
mate.
Yeah. Thank you.
We've seen a few, and as of you now, mate. To be honest, do you know how many seasons you're in now?
Well, I was just having this discussion with Steve. I started in, I can't remember when it was now. I've had 2 full rotations and a season. 2 full rotations, a season and a half, basically. So I came in, there was a cup. I came in on the Blacks halfway through a season. Then I went to the start of a season. Anyway, I'm gonna basically I've been here for
7 seasons.
Just trying to work it out. 8
7
seasons,
and a half.
8 full seasons.
Nice.
So 2 rotations now, 2 full rotations.
Yeah.
So
amazing.
Yeah.
On that note,
you've been an excellent addition, mate.
Absolutely. I'm going to love you both and leave you to finish off the podcast. I've got footy to get to.
Don't hurt yourself, mate. Got a big game tomorrow night.
No, I'll be fine. I popped whilst I was at Littledown today. I popped into the fun fair to see if I can get the ball, and he basically said we can't go up whilst it's all operating, but when it closes, we'll go up there and get whatever's up there and hide it here for you. And he showed me one of the fences that opens. So he said, basically, come to this fence, open this fence, so you can come in and get them. So he said them. So I'm hoping there might be more than one. We might have a little 2-for-1 going on. Jesus might have done us a favour. Yeah, right. He said the last time they cleared it, there was 4. So we'll see.
Brilliant.
Anyway, I must go. Thank you, boys.
All right, mate.
See you all Friday. And if not, I'll see you Saturday if you're coming.
Yeah, fair shout, buddy.
See you then, mate.
Cheerio, chaps.
Easy. Bye.
Well, Ben.
And there he goes.
What I was going to say, he's gone.
Now we can talk about him.
Yeah. Massive gap. I don't know. Do you reckon the Blues are going to hold on? That's the question.
Yeah, well, we'll see, won't we? We're going to have a say in it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But thanks for that. Challenges and incentives was an interesting one because I guess in speaking to your teams, you would get to know what motivates them, and then maybe you could include nice little incentives. Things that might, if someone says, I love my guilty pleasure is XYZ, you say, okay, we can incentivize if you get to this, or you try and do this many steps or this much weight, that kind of thing. I'm not that necessarily you have to do that, but maybe it's a nice thing. You could say, the biggest loser of the week gets X thing, this thing.
Yeah. Or, we did it when we were giving, we were offering a prize. So we had a spot prize for whoever won whatever the weekly challenge was. And I got to go back to Dave. It was Davo who did it. And I think the first prize was a £10 Sports Direct voucher or something. And James did win it, and he went and bought himself a new pair of boots, or put it towards a new pair of boots. That kind of thing. I mean, that comes off the kindness of people.
Yeah, exactly.
To do it, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's. I understand why people get apprehensive about it, and I understand why people can be a little bit apprehensive about sort of diving straight in, but I think it's important just to understand both sides. So it's important not to force people to do it, just encourage people to do it. If they don't want to, that's fine. Just do what you need to do. Whatever works for you is absolutely fine. But I think if you encourage it, people will get more out of the process. I know I certainly have, by engaging on a slightly sort of bigger level. It does help, but again, it's not for everybody. So as long as people are there and they're doing what they're set out to do, and you can help them along with that, that's the most important thing, because not everybody's the same. Some people react differently in different ways as well. We know there's a lot of different personalities down there, and some people are very active in the chats and are very active socially within the group. Other people are not, but they're still losing weight. They're still doing what they're there to do. So
say, you've got a core of people who maybe get involved in 3 or 4 different of the chats, and they're quite active in those, and you see them every week on Tuesdays and a Thursday and a Friday, and they're just I probably count myself among them. Then you've got people who you literally see once a week on a Friday. But some are, as you were saying, those people are once a week on a Friday, and this goes back to our WWE belt thing I was just saying. Many of the names in there are people who you may see only once a week on a Friday, and they hopefully getting what they want out of the process, out of the league and the process. It doesn't mean they have to be engaged to be successful.
No.
And the other way around doesn't mean that those people are engaging. It's sometimes it may need a bit more engagement. Sometimes you mean a bit less engagement.
Absolutely.
Depending on.
So trying to gauge that. Trying to gauge that and encourage that either way is important. Certainly from a captaining point of view. So anyone who's coming in as a new captain, it's that's quite important. But I think there's going to be quite a bit of a change up on the captain front, aren't there? I think there's quite a few new captains coming in, and
can't really say anything, but
no.
My understanding is I'm sure there's many people who've put their names forward as a captain. There's probably many people who fully deserving of doing it in Steve's mind and many other people's mind, I'm sure, across the league, and we'll see what comes of it. I think no one's going to be unhappy. Let's put it that way. So
good
with it. So in general, for who they have.
Well, I've always been an advocate of the way that Steve and yourself, obviously now involved, but the way that Steve does it is more involved than the standard man be fat way. And I know he's fought hard to do it that way, but it does balance the teams better.
It's
going into a new rotation.
It's also so difficult. I mean, this is a bit of a peek behind the curtain. I'm sure Steve won't mind me saying, but just all the things you have to juggle. So you have to try and make sure the BMI is fair across the leagues. You have to make sure that people are mixed into different teams, so they're not spending time they're not in the same. They haven't got too many people from their previous rotational team. There's always maybe 1, sometimes 2 players from your old team in there, but not 4, 5, 6. Then you've got to mix up, obviously, the people who register as a goalkeeper across the teams. Then you've got to mixture up people who are considered in the quote unquote top 8 of the league, so they got to be split evenly as well. And sometimes you've got to then think about what I was going to think about, not being on the same color as you were last time in some form. Not that matters too much, but there's balancing buddies, so people who've asked for a buddy up, and things like that. There's just balancing ability in terms of pitch ability, so making sure you're not putting what you would consider some of your top star players in one team and another, trying to balance that across the league. You've got to try and balance people who can attend consistently versus those who have spotty attendance. You've got to balance people who, what was I going to say? I don't know, but basically, there's a lot of different. There's a lot of contributing factors.
I mean, Jesus,
and
I
then
wouldn't
somehow
even start to do it.
Out of the 80 between 85 and 88 people in the league, you've got to somehow come up with 8 teams.
A bit bonkers.
That fit all that criteria, and that is a monumentous task.
Christ.
And I do not. Well, I do envy it because I like the idea of doing that, but I have no real involvement at that stage. But at some level, it's not an enviable task.
No, Christ, no.
For Steve,
No,
so it's very well done. It's very
hats
well
off
done.
to him. Hats off to him. Yeah, so I
So-
guess we're all excited. We're all bated breath, aren't we? So we've got the awards on. So last game of the season tomorrow night, or tonight if you're
Yeah.
listening now.
Yeah.
We're recording Thursday, so for the last game of the season. So there's three titles to be decided. Not that we
Well,
actively
well,
encourage.
Scales League's done. So
Scales League's done.
so-
Okay, so the other two
two
can be
titles.
decided.
Yes.
Well, the one is not really a title. We always go on about it, but it never gets any official accolade through the
pitch one
process, the pitch league. But
Yeah.
probably
as
and
it
then the
should be
awards on
Sunday.
Saturday. I
Yeah.
think I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, indeed. Very good. I think we've got a good attendance list. So
Yeah,
should be really
Yeah.
good. Supposedly, as we mentioned, a beautiful day and outside balcony as well. It was quite nice this time potentially get some air in the room because last time it was
Yes.
bloody warm.
It was quite stuffy, wasn't it?
Yeah, so nice to get some air and maybe do some bits outside, so
Yeah, be
that'd be
great.
good. Yeah, really looking forward to it. Really, really looking forward to it. So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Well,
Anyway,
anyone who is
mate.
listening right now, there are still tickets available. So I don't think we've got a cap. We had a cap before, but I don't think we do now, do we? So anyone who's coming along, and also don't forget your plus ones, because last time we did it, which was the last rotation, we found quite a lot of people bought their plus ones and they really enjoyed it, and it was a real eye opener for their other halves to understand what it is we do and why we do it, and rewarding people for what they're achieving. It was I know, speaking to a few of people's partners, they were quite impressed around what it was and why they lose their other half every Friday night.
Yeah. Well, I think some, not always, but I think you could probably say that quite a lot of being part of the league, as we've always mentioned, is the community. It's being around the community, etc. So when you've got that community together in a celebratory manner, I think you can probably understand that is a place if you're committed to this league, that's mostly a place you want to be.
Absolutely.
And not just for the accolade, for the community, to be there, have a laugh with people, and I think that's a passion. That's a that what it becomes a passion for some. It becomes it's a huge part of people's lives and why it's so successful. And I think that's sometimes a little striking to some people who've never really been in it until you've actually been in it. So whether it's your partner, whether it's someone new who's to the league, so I think and that's always on display at these things. So.
But that's a great selling point. So anyone who's having an hour take it and not sure, then take the plunge and come and join in, and you'll have a lovely time.
Yeah.
Apart from Russ's particularly bad taste in music.
Well, you say that. It's probably my kind of tune music, to be honest. Yeah. To be fair, as long as it's not Jim's power ballads from the 80s power ballads. Actually, no, I love that, to be honest. I absolutely loved it. So
brilliant. No, he's a good lad. He's a good lad. Russ will be banging out some tunes, I'm sure.
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to it, and should be
Sadly,
good.
I've got to drive, man. No drinkies for me.
Have you got to drive?
I've got to drive. Sadly, we can't get a babysitter, so
no.
My wife can't attend, aka the roadie.
Well, you'll be the sensible one on the microphone then towards the end.
I'll try to getting Jack off when he's rambling on in some drunken manner.
Well, last time it was me, and I don't even want to be in front of the mic.
Dear. That'd be good. It'd be fun. It'd be all good.
Well, luckily the guys at 23 MPH who we're hosting with will be able to step in with some drunken banter, I'm sure.
Are we allowed to announce what Jimbo's doing? Are we allowed to say that? Is it a surprise?
I don't know if it's a surprise, if I'm really honest. I think we won't say anything, but Jim does have something in mind for the night.
Yeah.
So it should be a good laugh. Always my kind of bag anyway, as you know. That gives you a hint.
Yeah.
So anyone who knows me very well.
Yeah.
Okay. Right then. I don't know if that's it for this week, mate. If you want to, anything else you want to chat about?
Anything else you want to chat about? Want to do any fantasy, or you're not bothered?
Well, we can do brief fantasy, shall we do?
We've not done any for a while.
Yeah, come on then.
We've not done any for a while, and we're battling it out currently, me and thee. Only a point between us, mate.
Well, yeah, I have to admit, I've kind of fell off a little bit recently, although I think it's still pretty close. Hard to really know in our league. In terms of just generally, it's double game week this week coming up.
It is.
First of a few, I think. So Game week 32, the doubles are Crystal Palace and Newcastle are playing each other as a rearranged fixture, so they've got their normal fixtures and then the double against each other. So
it's only the one double. It's only the one.
Yes, so it's only Newcastle and Palace players who are doubling.
Yeah.
I think if you have not used your triple captain, this is a good time to use it.
Yeah.
Maybe triple captain Isak. I was particularly encouraged by Eddie Howe's post-match words about not having to. Basically, he's fully fit and they don't have to manage him anymore.
Yeah, that's
so
good.
Which is always good. So I think even if he gets 70 minutes in 2 games, I think from what I can tell,
There's 2 home games as well, aren't they?
Yeah, 2 home games, Man United and Palace. I think we can conclude that Man United aren't a good defensive team. Palace, yeah.
Out.
So we'll see on that one. So I happen to have Mateta, Sarr, Munoz, Livramento, Murphy, and Isak. So I have a feeling that I've got some maximum doublers in the team.
Me too, but you got Livramento over. I've got Burn, so Livramento was a better shout, mate. He did well for you last week, didn't he?
Yeah, maybe. And then the week after is a big double. Big double. It is
game week 33.
Yes, Arsenal, Crystal Palace again, Man City, Aston Villa are all doubling.
Yeah, that's big.
In my case, that will be my bench boost week because I'm going to have. It's West Ham and their opponents as well. Is that correct? Just trying to think. No. Those are the doublers. So those are the doublers. So in my team, I've got David Raya who will double next week. I've got Saliba who will double next week. Munoz who will double next week. Sarr, who will double next week. Mateta will double next week. This and next week. Marmouche who will double next week. Foden who will double next week. And Kirshenov who will double but probably play no minutes.
So hang on, what's the theory behind bench boosting then when you've got so many people doubling as well?
Because I will have a good bench, so that's just the theory. Yeah. Basically, I might even have a bench that's got
with
double
decent fixtures.
Yeah. So So even if my plan is this week to do nothing. The week after is to get rid of some Newcastle players and get Aston Villa players.
Yeah.
So it would have been Rodgers because he's, brilliant.
Yeah.
But, he might lose minutes because of the Champions League. So we'll see about that. The same with Ollie Watkins, although Watkins was rested in the Champions League.
Yeah.
So we'll see about him playing this weekend. So yeah, it's just pardon me. Can't believe I'm yawning on a podcast.
I won't cut it. Are you all right? You had a long day? It's been out in the sun.
I've been fine. Anyway, Palmer will probably go to Saka.
Yeah.
So there'll be an extra doubler there.
Although he picked up a knock, Saka, apparently. He's got a knock at the moment. So that might be interesting.
We'll see. It depends, but I'm trying to get as many as possible because then even the people who have bad fixtures, so like my goalkeeper, Areola I think he has Southampton. Mm-hmm. So at home, which is why I got him on wildcard because he would then be my bench boost for this next week.
Yeah, fair.
Then 34 will be a blank. So all the people I've mentioned who will double in 33 will blank in 34. So if you have a free hit, you must use it that week, probably, assuming you have all those kind of players. That would be my suggestion. If you don't have one, I'm very sorry, but it seems like you're going to have to make some transfers.
Yeah.
And then there's potential more doubles and blanks later on. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, you're right.
Sorry,
more doubles and blanks later on.
So what's how many is a good number to field on a bench on a blank game week? How many should you be trying to field at least on a blank game week?
9 or 10. If you have 10 and you've made your free transfers,
you're doing okay.
Yeah, you're probably doing okay. As in, you don't have a free hit. If you have 7 or 8 players,
it's got to be worth taking a couple of hits. Isn't it?
You've got to take a couple of hits, in my opinion, to get to 9 or 10. Basically, you've just got to remember that. I know there's no doubles, but at some point, is the player you're bringing in worth 4 points more than
Yeah.
what you're doing on some level. Not always a yes, but let's just hypothetically say you're bringing in a defender who's like West Ham, who are playing Southampton at home, and you think, look, there's a clean sheet there. There's just no way they're not getting a clean sheet. You're getting 6 points out of it most of the time. So it's difficult to think about really that way, but really you just remember you're not getting any points for someone who's not playing a game.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
I always get a bit nervy about teams that are already relegated, though, because the shackles come off for those players, and then what happens is the players in those teams are vying for other clubs to come in for them, so they start playing, and they just don't care anymore. So quite often you get some really strange results towards the end of the season of relegated sides. You just come out and just start playing decent football. So it wouldn't surprise me if Southampton start, scoring a few or doing something a bit different. I don't think they're going to be as easy as everyone thinks. They're just all gone, because
maybe
it's happened before.
Well, who's playing Leicester? So yeah,
Interesting. I always think it's interesting the end of the season, because you always think it's quite often the relegation sort of zone which ends up being more fruitful than the top of the table, especially with Liverpool being so far in front.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, just have a think about what you can now. I would suggest in terms of your fantasy about what you can do for the next few weeks.
Yeah.
It's nice to have doubles, but if you don't have a free hit and you need to think about saving transfers for 34, then that's probably that's better plan, I think.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, mate. Okay. Thanks for your insight.
Well, we'll see. It's not getting me anywhere at the moment.
Well, you're doing okay, mate. You're doing okay. You're hanging on in there.
Yeah, just about. We need to catch Mark.
We do. I've dropped down a few places in my leagues, which is a bit of a pain in the bum, especially this time of the season. But hey, I've enjoyed it this season. It's been going really well. So yeah, good stuff. Cheers, mate.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's us then for this week, is it?
Yes, indeed, I believe. And we'll be back next week, I guess, with some discussion on how the end of season awards went.
We'll have the new teams will be in place, so we can discuss our new captains and our new colours. And our new teammates.
Yeah, just slate it all. Get in the head of your competition. Straight ahead and just say how this captain shouldn't be one and blah blah blah. See what it is.
I'm looking forward to it. No, I think everyone Steve's very good at putting people in those places that will be very good at it. So I have every faith that it will be great. Yeah. Looking forward to it.
Indeed.
All right, mate. Well, listen, you need to get yourself to bed. Because I'm worried about you.
Yeah,
that stag dude's weighed its weighing heavy on you.
It was fine. It was fine. I was playing football, wasn't I, on Tuesday?
Well, that's true. You were there. Yeah. All right, mate. Listen, great to talk to you.
And you, mate.
And I'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks, everyone, for listening.
Yeah. Cheers, lads.
If they got this far.
See you later, mate.
Cheers, mate. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.